Get unstuck in your hot yoga practice. So in order for you to get unstuck, first you have to be stuck. Now I've had the honor and the privilege of traveling all across the world since the mid-1990s teaching hot yoga, and I see everywhere people are stuck in their practice. This video, I'm going to teach you how to get unstuck. And just thinking, I think the first hot yoga workshop I did was 1995, and then I started representing Bikram yoga at the Yoga Journal conferences, at Omega conferences. Johnny Kest had a conference up in Michigan. So when I would witness people in their hot yoga practice, the first thing I see is they get stuck in their bodies. They do listen to the instruction, and sometimes they take the instructions so literal that their body gets frozen or stuck within the pose. So what Bikram calls the dialogue, the Barkan method we call the bullet points. So for example, standing bow. One cue I see where people get stuck is chin to the shoulder. In standing bow, for example, when you bring your chin to your shoulder, some people actually glue their chin to the shoulder. They get so stuck up here in their neck and their shoulder area that they're frozen. But the concept is the chin is over the shoulder. So you actually want to drop the shoulder down, bring the chin over the shoulder. So here you can see I have freedom. Here I'm frozen, stuck in jail. Here I've got freedom to extend that arm forward. Same thing with the arm going backward. I see that people get stuck within their shoulders in the standing bow. You want to extend yourself away. You have to feel your body elastic. I say that all the time in my videos. Feel your body elastic. Before we continue, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell. Any questions or comments, put them down below. I'm happy to get back to you. So think of the cues. I want you to think of the cues as a guideline for your body to have some freedom of motion, some freedom within the cues. Again, not gluing your chin to the shoulder, but keeping it over the shoulder, not holding on so tight.
Can't break free.
Which brings us to the next point and how we get stuck in our bodies. Bikram loves to say, tight, 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 strong, strong, strong. Now you get somebody that's stronger than they are flexible, but someone who is stronger than they are flexible, if they're thinking tight, tight, tight all the time, their body is not going to be able to move. It's not going to be able to extend. It's not going to be able to become elastic. So let's take standing head to knee, for example. I see what happens is people try to kick that leg out because we are a performance-oriented society, so we want to straighten that upper leg as much as we possibly can. So they're trying to kick that leg out with all of their strength and all of their might and tight, 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 and the body actually tightens up. You have to understand where your starting point is, and this is a very important Barkan mantra. And if you're not new to the channel, you've heard me say it many times. Find your starting point without judgment. And what's your goal? Let's talk about standing head to knee, for example. Let's say your upper leg isn't straight yet. Let's say you're not even close to straightening that upper leg yet. What's your goal? Your goal is the next inch. If you live outside of the United States, the next 2.54 centimeters. That's it. You're thinking to straighten that leg all the way out to that parallel position, and you're holding on so tight, you're working too hard. Most likely, there's no way you're going to make it to the 60-second frame of how long that posture is supposed to be held. Somewhere along in the Bikram world, they changed from 60 seconds in the first set to 30 seconds in the second set. And my day was 60 seconds both sets. In my advanced class, we actually do 2 minutes each side.
That's too much.
But that was insane. But I always like the 60 seconds for both sets, so you give that person in the second set chance to go to that next level, to find that next inch, but doing it within the framework of understanding this is my starting point, which I'm not going to judge, and all I want to do is find the next inch. So don't make yourself wrong if you can't straighten that upper leg and standing head to knee. You have to understand, okay, this is my starting point. I have a student in my class in the morning times, Judy Marshall, who is also a Barkan Method online teacher training graduate. She also did a Bikram teacher training program at Prana here in Fort Lauderdale. She has a great intermediate level standing head to knee. She maintains her position. Her leg is about 5 or 6 inches from being straight, but she has her starting point and she stays there without judgment. Because if you judge it, because if you have a negative judgment about where you are, oh, I wish I could be doing more. I wish I could be doing what that person's doing or what she's doing. That negative thought ripples into your physiology and actually makes you tighter. So we have our starting point without judgment, and we find the next inch, and we find that pendulum swing, and on the pendulum swing is the next 2 centimeters. If you're thinking 10 inches or 30 centimeters, it's too much for the body to handle, and it'll contract at the thought of it, and most likely you're just going to have to come out of the pose. So how can you hold it for 60 seconds? By having that mantra and we're actually working less. Especially if you are stronger than you are flexible, you're probably working too hard. You're expending too much energy, too much strength, the body tightens up, it creates lactic acid, and you have to come out of it. You have no choice. But if you take your time, ease your way into the position. We're back to standing hip to knee again. Use only the amount of strength that's required to maintain the position. That's it. So you have the understanding. Therefore, you're allowing the flexibility to unfold, finding that next inch, 2 centimeters, finding the next step without judgment. Back when I had my studio in Fort Lauderdale, I had that studio for 39 years. I would love to have made it to 40, but we didn't make it. I had a student, Dennis, and he had a really tight hamstring in standing hip to knee. And he came up to me one day, he says, Jimmy, when am I ever going to straighten my leg in standing hip to knee? He was at least 15 inches from getting that leg straight. However, Dennis had very flexible hips. He could do hip openers that I never could do. I always had tight hips, but I had flexible hamstrings. So I said, Dennis, your hips are wide open. That's a positive. Why are you so concerned with what you can't do? Celebrate what you can do. I mean, do you want to trade? You want to give me your flexible hips? I'll give you my flexible hamstrings. No, of course not.
Oh, honey, that's just silly.
We have to know what is, therefore take inventory, which brings us to another subject. What hamstring is more flexible, your right or left? What hip is more open, your right or left? What shoulder? When you become more advanced, shoulders become a big part of it. What shoulder is more open? You'll know that in the eagle pose. Taking inventory, understanding what you have, don't make the judgment. Where's the next inch? That's it. Now we're going to use the tree pose, back where people get stuck. The cue is pick up your right foot, bring it underneath the navel to inside part of your thigh. Bring your hands to your heart center. The foot's going to slide. Hold it. Otherwise, bring both hands up. Namaskar. So what happens is people pick up their foot. They put it on their thigh. They bring hands to the heart center and they just stay there. What you have to do is understand what those cues mean, what Bikram's dialogue is saying, what the Barkan method bullet points are saying. As the knee goes out to the side, it goes back. The hip joint comes forward. Understanding the cues and how we can feel our body opening to implement those cues so our body can open, not so we can just strike a pose. We're not just staying there and striking a pose. The knee goes back, the hip comes forward, and an external rotation. We want to feel the leverage. A lot of times I'll have people just move their foot a little bit over to the side, bring the knee out to the side, bring the hip forward, and you can see the rotation of the hip happening, and then they can feel it in real time. So the point I'm making is listen to the cues, implement those cues to allow the body to open, to stretch, to move. That's how we're creating that range of motion, and that's how we're going to improve and get unstuck in our hot yoga practice. Now here's another big Barkan method saying, drum roll with shout. Less in the beginning, more at the end. Where I feel people get stuck, they go too hard too soon. And like I said before in standing hip to knee, when you're going so hard so soon, your body cannot maintain that intensity for that long. And if you're really tenacious, you could hurt yourself. But most of the time, you're just going to have to come out of it because you can't maintain and hold that position. By going less in the beginning, your body will now trust you. Your body will allow you in. You can go further because you're taking your time. On the other side of that coin, you're going too far too soon. The body's going to tighten up to protect itself. It instantly goes into defense mode. And as soon as it tightens up to protect itself, you can no longer stretch anymore because your body is blocking you out of the position. So how can we get our mind and our body in sync, which is one of the definitions of yoga, mind, body, and the soul connection, the union of the three. How we're going to do that is to go less in the beginning so the body will allow you in. You take your time to get to the position. At the end of the pose, your body actually tires out, it fatigues, and then you can go to that next level. So this is a big one. Less in the beginning, more at the end is how you're going to also get unstuck in your yoga practice. Back to knowing your body type. Let's say you're standing head to knee on your right side is the better side. You don't want to think that standing head to knee is your better side on the right side. You have to understand why that is. 9 times out of 10, if your right side standing head to knee is the better side, that means the right leg hamstring is the more flexible hamstring. Now, this is the case for most people, and there's definitely exceptions. So if you want to comment that you're an exception, put it down below. I want to hear from you. But if your right side standing head to knee is your better side, that means your left side standing bow is going to be your better side because you're standing on that hamstring. Because in the standing bow, that's the hamstring you're standing on that has to stretch. Opposite is true if you're left side, and this is the case for most people because most people are right-handed, therefore you're the right side dominant. If your left side standing head to knee is your better side, your right side standing bow is the better side. I was left-handed, so I was left side dominant. That means my right side standing hip to knee was my better side, and my left side standing bow was my better side on the left side. Now, here's the trick. Once you have that awareness, hold the challenge side a little bit longer. We have a tendency to exploit our better side. We want to hold the better side longer. It feels better to us, looks better to our peers. Our teacher may acknowledge us, oh, that's the great side. But if you can hold your challenge side a little bit longer, it'll begin to catch up because we want balance. We want both sides to be even. So in order for that to happen, we want the challenge side to catch up. Because if you continue to exploit your better side, as you improve, your imbalance actually increases. Make sense? So if you can, I'm saying maybe 7% more energy on the challenge side. It'll make a big difference. So once you have the awareness, take inventory of your body type, and then use that information to hold the challenge side a little bit longer. So I hope these tips help you in becoming unstuck in your yoga practice. A lot of it's mental. There is definitely physical and definitely the combination of the two. Any questions or comments, put them down below. I'm happy to get back to it. So here's where I'm going to be in the next few months. July 25th, I'm going to be up in Orlando at They Flow Yoga doing a one-day workshop. In August, I'm going to be in Tennessee. I believe it's the 26th to the 23rd. I'll make sure and put it on the screen at Infinity Yoga doing a level 2/3 teacher training program. And at the end of September, I'm going to be in Blacksburg, Virginia doing a 3-day workshop at Imbalance Yoga with Nicole. Love to have you join us. So that's our episode for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Any questions or comments, put them down below. I'm happy to get back to you. And I'll see you the next video. Bye, everyone.